Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome. Today is April 8th, 2026, and this is the regular board meeting for the School District of Waukesha Board of Education. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Ettinger, can you take the roll call, please?
Eric Brooks.
Here.
Natalie Gren.
Here.
Thomas Harlan.
Here.
Betty Koenig.
Here.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Here.
Diane Voigt.
Here.
David Wad.
Here.
Anthony Zenobia.
Here.
Kelly Piasek.
Here. And Ms. Ettinger, can you please verify that the meeting has been properly posted?
Yes, it has.
Thank you very much. All right, we are going to begin with some exciting bright lights tonight. We have, to begin, the Core 2062 Robotics Program.
All right, so I see they're already coming up, so welcome, ladies, and I want to recognize Brian and Nancy Farrell. Thank you for bringing the team. This has become an annual tradition for us, and ultimately this is a very impactful program that transcends all three of our high schools. So we're very grateful to have the core team here. They have a wonderful story to tell as they are state-bound, which is quite amazing, but I'm not going to steal any thunder. So go ahead, ladies, and thank you all for being here.
We're waiting for our presentation to come on. We'll make sure you have good visuals.
While you're waiting, can you hit the button on your microphone so that it's on?
There you
Thank you.
That would be a good idea. I'm feeling pretty comfortable. You want to have Jeopardy music? Google Slides. There we go. There we go. Okay. Without delay, we'll get started. So, hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Kirsten. I am a senior at Waukesha North, and I am the outreach sub-team lead.
Hi, my name is Jenna. I'm a freshman at Waukesha West, and I'm on the programming sub-team.
We are Core 2062, the community of robotics engineers. CORE is the high school robotics team for the School District of Waukesha, and we are a part of an organization known as FIRST, which is an acronym representing for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology.
FIRST is a global organization and is the world's leading youth-serving nonprofit advancing STEM education. FIRST's mission is to inspire young people to become science and technology leaders of the future. This is accomplished through exciting mentor-based programs that build science, engineering, and technology skills, inspire innovation, and foster well-rounded life capabilities, including self-confidence, communication, and leadership.
FIRST offers 3 programs with different challenges dependent on the age range. The one for the youngest group is called FIRST LEGO League, or FLL, which introduced STEM to elementary and middle school students. The next program is First Tech Challenge, or FTC, where middle school through high school students learn to think like engineers.
First Robotics Competition, or FRC, is for high school students and is a program which we participate in. FRC teams design, program, and build a robot using a common set of rules to play in a themed challenge which changes every year. Teams also build a brand, develop community partnerships for support, and work to promote STEM in their local community.
CORE competes with FRC through First Wisconsin district competitions. This year marks our 20th season as the team within First.
The FRC season kicks off on the first Saturday of January, when the year's game challenge is revealed. When the season kicks off, all FRC teams are given the same challenge in 6 weeks to fully design, build, wire, and program a robot for competition. This year's theme is Rebuilt and is centered around archaeology. During the matches, 2 teams of 3 robots compete in a 15-second autonomous and 135-second teleoperated.
Running an FRC team is a lot like running a business. All teams have to fundraise money, mostly through corporate sponsorships, and have to manage that money when buying parts for the robot or for paying for the state for competitions. FRC teams often do fundraising outside of the build and competition. Because of this, CORE is active year-round, which means we also promote STEM year-round.
For our first district event, CORE 2062 competed at Lakeland University's first robotics competition district event in Plymouth, Wisconsin. This event was the first ever district event in Wisconsin, and it was an honor to compete there.
During the competition, our team placed 4th out of 33 teams during qualification matches and held the first place seed for over an hour. CORE had a win streak of 7 matches, followed by a loss streak of 3, and ended qualifications with another 2-match win streak.
In alliance selection, we captained the 3rd seed alliance, joined by Team 3791, Hex Hounds, and Team 6381, Red Raider Robotics. During the playoffs, we had 3 wins and 2 losses, getting eliminated in the semifinals, leading us to be ranked as the 3rd place alliance. Additionally, CORE 2062 received the Excellence in Engineering Award. This award is given to a team with exceptional integration of modules and robot design organization.
On the weekend of March 28th and 29th, CORE competed in our 2nd district competition at Mugwanago, Wisconsin. During the competition, our team placed 13th out of 36 teams during qualification matches. CORE had 7 wins and 5 losses in qualification matches. In alliance selections, we were the first pick for the 4th seed alliance, captained by Team 6381 Red Raider Robotics. Team 2077 Laser Robotics also competed with us in the alliance. During the playoffs, we had a 1 win and 2 losses, being eliminated in the quarterfinals.
Additionally, CORE 2062 received the Industrial Design Award. This award is given to a team with exceptional integration of form, function, and aesthetics.
CORE has had a significant impact on the local community, participating in 121 FLL and outreach events from 2023 to 2026, as well as that we have reached over 58,000 people and have contributed 8,044 impact hours at these events.
We also have had a great community impact throughout the current season. In the fall, we did many outreach events, including Southfest, talking to a state senator at Advocacy Day, presenting at a Rotary Club meeting, and teaching a Cub Scouts troop about robotics. In November, we also attended the Rockwell Automation's Automation Fair, where we were given the opportunity to network with STEM professionals from around the world.
After our accomplishments at both our district competitions, CORE has qualified for the Wisconsin State Championship. This event will be on April 18th and 19th at Brookfield East High School, and we hope to see you there.
This spring, we will lead Intro to Engineering with LEGO sessions for the 4th year at district elementary schools. We will also be hosting Girls in STEM for the 5th year at Waukesha South. Thank you for your time.
Any questions?
Very nice. Super exciting. I know you have some other team members here. Do you want to have them come join you? Lots of team members.
Come over here. Just like stand around us.
Welcome, everybody.
No.
Yeah. I think Mrs. Koenig has the first question. Why don't you tell us about the size of your team and how
Okay,
you all
so
work together.
of the three high schools, we have 18 team members from all three high schools, including 7 of them being brand new to the team. We call them rookies. So that has been due to our amazing outreach events and recruitment efforts to get new people involved on our team. And so, yeah.
Great. Mrs. Koenig.
Thank you. Wow, this is an awesome presentation. I just had a question. I was going to ask the two of you first, but since you're all up there, you can open up to anyone that would like to answer. How far back does your interest in robotics go? Like, when did each of you start? Like, how old? What was your first experience? Anything you want to share about how did this start for you? How did you end up here?
I can start. I started robotics primarily in middle school through the Butler Middle School robotics team. We did VEX-like competitions within other middle schools, and along with that, I was also in a lot of the Project Lead the Way classes, and that's kind of where I fostered my enjoyment of robotics to begin with. So yeah.
I can go next. Honestly, a huge part in like my relationship with my dad was really focused on robotics. He's not like dead, but that sounded really sad. But a huge part of our connection, I remember building this like Lego robotic cat, and that was so fun. And after that, I haven't really been that focused in robotics in like middle school. But during high school, I was introduced to core during a like club introduction, which I actually participated this year for 8th graders. So I was really happy to do that. But yeah, I was introduced to robotics primarily this year, and it's been so fun.
Anyone else want to go?
This doesn't work? Okay. Technically, I've loved building since I was 6 years old when I got my first Lego set, but I was really introduced to first when I was 9, and I joined a FLL team called 10 Tooth Gear when I was 10. I did FLL for about 3 years. I took a break. So I was like, do I really want to keep doing robotics? This is really my passion. Then I found core through the same interest night that she went to, and I was like, okay, I want to do this, and I joined core.
You don't all have to share. If anybody else wants to, you're welcome to. I have to say that when you talk about First Robotics' mission is to inspire innovation, I feel very inspired by you guys. Your positive energy is very catchy. Other questions? Mr. Harlan?
So first question is, you had stated it is similar to running a business. How much did it cost to do all of this?
So core has a budget each year of $50,000. And through that, we pay for our robot primarily through corporate sponsorships. As you can see on the back of our polos, these are all of our sponsors. And this isn't even everyone. Major sponsors. Yeah, these are our major sponsors. But we have many, many more also who give money in different amounts. So depending on that amount, they can get on T-shirts, they can get on the robot. They all get a card and a plaque for being our sponsors. I know some of you have them in the office. I saw them downstairs. So, yeah, this year we have fundraised over our budget goal. I believe right now that we are at like $50,500. So we have definitely exceeded that.
Well done. And then the second one is, I guess, relating to some current events with all of the Artemis missions. I guess, how does this play into the future of exploring space using robotics?
Yeah, so NASA actually has a partnership within FIRST where every rookie team, their first year will get sponsored by NASA. So they get to put NASA's logo on their polo, on their robot. They get to show that they are supported by such a large organization. Also, core alumni have actually work at NASA. We have a few alumni who are working directly with NASA and are influencing what's going on right now with Artemis too. So that's really cool too. So any one of us in the future could do that as well.
Very cool. Thank you.
What else? I do have a question about the awards that you won. So the industrial design and the other one was for engineering design.
Yes, so we've got Excellence in Engineering, which is all about oh my goodness, the modules in the robot. So being able to smoothly transition our game pieces from one section to another. And we got this one because of our intake system into our agitator that goes into our hopper and then comes out of our launcher system. This also has to do with design principles and our ability to plan out our robot because of our design process and our engineering process. And then the Industrial Design Award is for a team that has exceptional integration of form, function, and aesthetics. So we got this one primarily because of our choreo bar right there. In our team colors, and it's a kind of a fun joke amongst us that it looks like an Oreo, so it's called a choreo, core and Oreo, choreo. Yeah. And then we've also got core orange within our robot, and then on the back side we've got our wallpaper that we designed. So we got this award because of our blend of aesthetics into our integration of our robot, as well as our team integration. So, yeah. So that's the difference.
So is the logo and design, is that something that stays with you as a team? Is that a this year thing only, or something that you created will stay with you?
This is our original logo and design from our very first year 20 years ago. So teams can decide if they want to change or if they want to keep their logo. Many teams usually keep their design and logo throughout their entire time as a team, unless they go through a giant rebrand or they leave for a year and then they come back and cut together. But yeah, we've kept our logo, the Fibonacci spiral, and the orange and black consistent throughout our entire core's existence. So, yeah.
Super exciting. You mentioned some pieces, and there was a little bit of a showcase over on the side while you were talking about those. Do you guys just kind of want to walk us through some of the different components of your robot and what they're called and what they do?
Yeah. Someone else want to do that one? I've been talking a lot. You want to do it? Okay.
So Kirsten mentioned things like intake, our launcher. So this big thing that comes down the front, that's our intake. It has a very wide pickup zone. This year's game piece is a 6-inch foam yellow ball. And one decision that we made this year was we wanted to be able to intake a lot of those balls at the same time. And we can do if they're all lined up all nicely, we can do about 5 at the same time. And our intake can be pulled back up, and those balls then get pushed into the robot. And Kirsten was talking about that agitator bar, the choreo bar. It's a camshaft that knocks them further in. There's a few slopes that go into our spindexter, which is this gray spinning mechanism in the middle of the robot that spins the balls into our launching mechanism, and the balls get feeded through belts into 2 spinning flywheels, and that gets launched about 10 feet to our scoring location.
Very exciting. Any other questions? What was one of the most challenging things for you guys this year? I know you're looking forward to your next event, but or maybe what are you anticipating in terms of challenges or planning for?
So, one of the challenges this year is we have a lot of electrical components that go on this robot, and we needed a space to put them without them getting really interfered with the fuel and the shooting path of the fuel. So they're getting it ready, but this year we decided to create what we like to call our superstructure. So our entire indexer, which is the spinny thing, and our shooter can lift up so that we can access our control components easily when it comes to maintenance. If anything gets disconnected, it's very simple to just lift it up and get access to all of the controls components on our robot. So that was one of the challenges that we had to work through this year.
That is a very real design for serviceability aspect of engineering design that requires a lot of thought. So super impressive. Well, we are very excited for all of you and hope that you do really well. We'll be paying attention and rooting you on. And thank you so much for representing the district in such a positive way. Congratulations.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
want to launch stuff. Turn it on. Let's throw some balls. It's a pretty quick transition too. Super impressive. All right, we have another recognition tonight. So we have Sophia with us.
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to welcome up at this point to the podium Mrs. Ellie Sprager, the French teacher at Waukesha West, and one of her students, Sophia from West, who's the recipient of a very special award. So, Mrs. Sprager, would you like to talk about it, or would you like me to talk about it?
I prepared a little bit to say.
I would
about
love you to talk
Sophia,
about it.
If you'd like to listen.
Yeah, this is
So,
awesome.
Thank you. All right, so thank you for inviting us here tonight. I'm absolutely extremely proud of Sophia and to present her with this award. So I'm going to talk a little bit about her and what the award is. I'm really honored to have been invited here tonight to recognize her. I've had the pleasure of teaching Sophia at Waukesha West for 3 years, and it definitely didn't take me long to realize that not only does she have an innate knack for French, but she also has a passion and curiosity for learning the language and culture. Her positive leadership in class, French Club, and French Honor Society, on top of her academic excellence, is what made me decide to nominate her last year in 2025. This award is presented by the American Association of Teachers of French Wisconsin chapter. So any French teacher in Wisconsin, public or private school, who is a member of the association is allowed to nominate a student. The award is intended for an outstanding senior in French 4 or above who has an A average in French and a B average GPA overall. I'm proud to announce that Sophia was chosen for 2025, so I'm very proud of you and pleased to present you with a plaque recognizing the award.
Congratulations, Sophia. Does anybody have questions or comments? Mrs. Koenig.
I have the same kind of question I asked earlier. When did your passion, Sophia, start for French? How far back do you recall that you just had this passion interest?
So for me, French goes back to basically when I was born. So I have to shout out my mom, who's back there. She studied French in high school and college. So I remember as a little girl reading those big cardboard board books about French colors and numbers, stuff like that. So when I started French in high school, I already knew a little bit of French. So it's always been something that I knew I was going to do. I just didn't know it was going to give me this plaque one day.
Anybody else? Mr. Harland?
Have you been to France to be able to speak?
Unfortunately not, but I would like to someday.
Mr. Watt?
Yeah, thank you. I'm curious, do you have any plans to try to leverage your love and passion of French in your future schooling or career plans?
Yeah, I'm planning to minor in French as of right now, and I think that having a actual degree in French is going to help me in the future. I don't know where that's going to take me yet, but I firmly believe that learning a foreign language is really helpful in well-rounding your character and just who you are as a person. So I always knew I wanted to learn that skill, and I'm glad it was French.
It sounds like you've been very successful with that and with all of your other academic accomplishments as well. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have our report by our student representatives, and we will welcome Emma Fireday and JJ Hamilton to update us on what is happening at West High School.
Hello, everyone. We are the Waukesha West 2025 and 2026 representatives, and today we have a presentation for you all about West this year and our achievements. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Emma, And hi, my name is Emma Fireday, and I am a junior at Waukesha West High School. So a little bit about me is that I'm a part of my school's dual language program. I have been since I was 5 years old. I absolutely love it. I love how it's shaped my academic career. I am also a part of my school's drama program, so I've been a West End player since my freshman year of high school, not only as an actor, but as the creative director of the program this year. So I've done all the photography and all of the production stuff. Along with photography for my school, I am an IT and photography intern for the school district, so I'm super excited to record this meeting after this. I was also a part of Color Guard this year with the marching band, which was super fun to try something new and to be able to perform in a different way. And along with performing at my school, I am an actor and photographer at numerous other community theaters, such as Waukesha Civic Theater. And I plan on going to UW La Crosse after high school to major in musical theater and in arts administration because I'd really like to own my own bilingual theater when I'm older. And now I'll direct it over to JJ.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es JJ Hamilton. Hi everyone, my name is JJ Hamilton. I'm a senior at Waukesha West. A little bit about myself, I have 4-year involvement in volleyball. I'm our tennis team captain this year. I was a section leader for our marching band. I am a member of the National Honor Society, Student Council, and Latino Student Union. I was actually our first student DJ at our West Homecoming, which is pretty cool. I will also be DJing prom. I've also been part of the dual language program since kindergarten. I got accepted in UW-Madison, so I'll be going there this fall, and I'll be double majoring in both Spanish and psychology.
So I'm going to start off this presentation with our academics. West has been notorious for not just high test scores, but for fostering a really amazing learning environment, which is very adaptive to students and their personal needs. Through the unique classes and programs that are provided at West, we personally believe that all students have the opportunity to grow in their own independent ways. So to start off with our dual language program, JJ and I are both a part of dual language. To be a part of dual language at Waukesha West High School as a high schooler, there are 3 classes provided. You start off with AP Spanish Language and Culture, and then you progress on to AP Spanish Literature. And currently, I am in Spanish Seminar, which is the last Spanish class which is provided at West.
So there are 3 classes at West, but a really cool part, which I'll touch a little more on later, is our early college credit program, which I'm in. I'm actually taking a virtual class at UW-Whitewater, which is super cool. I've enjoyed the dual language program so much. I'm majoring in college, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually one of the 16 qualifying seniors who will also be receiving the Seal of Biliteracy and Global Scholars Award, which is a super awesome and cool achievement to have that I've worked for all through my kindergarten through now, so it's been pretty cool.
Next, we're going to talk about a class that we have at West, which is only provided at West, which is Trek. JJ and I are in this class second hour B days, so it's nice to be able to see him and work with him. So if you didn't know, Trek is a class that fosters creativity and entrepreneurship. So in about a semester-long course, you create a project, whether that's creating a business or that's working on robotics, or I've seen a lot of people do cosmetology. And through the help of your teachers, other students, and your mentors, you execute this project for the end of the year when we have a walkthrough, which you guys are all invited to on June 1st. Come stop by our stations. This class has been amazing because it's really helped me with understanding more about business, because I do want to own a bilingual theater when I'm older. My project is on an outreach program that I'm working with Waukesha Civic Theater for. We are partnering with La Casa de Esperanza to teach students theater in both Spanish and English. So this class has been really awesome to be able to learn more about things in business and in bilingualism that I just wouldn't be able to get from another class.
So moving on to our APs, co-ops, the ECCP. So I have taken a variety of AP classes throughout my high school career. I've taken a lot of, obviously, Spanish classes. I also took AP Psychology. And it's really helped me set me up for college, because now that I've taken those 3 Spanish classes, I'm now able to have that more college-ready experience. I also had, for our ECCP, which is our early college credit program, I had the opportunity to go to Carroll University first semester to do a psychology class, so I'm already ahead of some of my classmates that I'll have at UW-Madison, which is pretty cool. And handing it over to Emma for her co-op.
Yeah, so our school provides co-op opportunities, and I plan on taking one next year with Waukesha Civic Theater. This is a really awesome opportunity. I get to leave school during fourth hour on both days to go to work, which I personally believe is super beneficial for students who have a lot going on after school like I do with theater and rehearsals and working for the school district, because I'm able to get those hours in and I'm able to learn more than what's offered and provided at West during the school day.
So a lot of our scholars are also athletes. These students that I've personally found excel in time management because their selective sports help them sort of navigate and have discipline academically and socially. Student athletes at West are determined and passionate individuals who strive for constant improvement, not only in their athletics, but also in their academics. So a little bit about our boys' sports this year. Our football team went 4-6. Our soccer team won 14 out of their 20 games, with senior Drew James scoring a record 59 career goals, which is a fifth consecutive regional title. Volleyball, we had 4 honorable mentions, myself being one of them. And for our wrestling team, we had numerous teammates qualifying for individual state, with Brian Rivera setting a school record. And powerlifting, we actually had a few state champions, which was pretty cool.
To turn it over to our girls' teams, they've also had a really great fall and winter season. To highlight just a few of the amazing teams, our girls cross country competed in the WIAA sectional meet where they became champions, and they competed at state. Our dance team also won regionals for D3 POM for the first time in school history, and double qualified for state in both D3 POM and D2 hip hop. And they placed 5th at state for the first time in school history with both of their routines. Cheer as well was 3rd in the state and was able to compete at nationals in Orlando, Florida. Our volleyball team set a 30-12 record, and our individual girl wrestler, Elliot Malloy, was named Classic 8 Female Wrestler of the Year. So not only are our sports a great opportunity for students to grow and excel beyond school, but our clubs and activities are an amazing opportunity. It not only provides independent learning, but it allows for different social groups to blend. So there's a lot of students such as multi-athletes, high GPA and academically driven students, and artistically talented individuals. West offers a variety of clubs. There's like 40-something, and so there's always something for people to participate in. And our arts program is one of those groups of clubs that excel a lot. We started out this year with our marching band season in July with our 2-week-long band camp, which was fun, right, JJ?
It was long.
Yeah, it was long, but it was a lot of fun. We ended up ending the season in October, where we pulled 5th at state, and Color Guard won 2nd place. And right after the marching band season, a lot of bandmates collaborate with the drama program on the musical, which was Hadestown the Musical this year. Along with Hadestown, which had record ticket sales, we put on 2 main stage shows, one of them being a fall play and one of them being a winter play, which was a world premiere. We also had 1 competitive one-act where 4 actors, including I, won the Outstanding Actor Award. We also won Best Ensemble, Best Technical Design, Best Direction, and pretty much we sweeped. A lot of the kids who are part of the drama program are also a part of the choir classes, and our master's choir, which I'm involved in, competed at the WSMA Vocal Arts Competition. There were a lot of other kids in like concert choir and in treble choir who competed independently. All 3 of our master's choir songs progressed to state at Carroll College, and more than 15 individuals progressed to state. I did individually for musical theater, so I'm super excited for that. We also had a performance at the City Walk Lagoon stage in Orlando, Florida, because we went on a 6-day trip there. That was super fun. And our visual arts program also continues growth in their club members. They have weekly-long meetings, once-a-week meetings, where they have independent art studies, and they're able to work with their teachers on different projects such as ceramics, drawing, and painting.
Moving on to our student council, I've been fortunate to be part of it for 4 years now. One big highlight for me is our pep rallies, which are always super fun. And I'm sure Mr. Pat can talk on our student versus staff basketball games, which are always super fun. Our student council has made great efforts and progress in improving our school's overall school spirit and community. And we connect to students through different interactions such as events, spirit weeks, and plenty of other things. And then we also do community drives, which have been really successful at the Hebron House and the Hope Center, and we collect monetary donations and also clothing. So.
To end off about our clubs and activities, we have 2 other categories of clubs and activities at our school. JJ will start us off with the academic clubs.
So for our academic clubs, we have DECA, and they actually left state with 14 honors and awards. And we had 3 students that were actually sent off to our International Career Development Conference in Atlanta. Our HOSA, which is our Health Occupations and Students of America, had 2 successful blood drives this year, which was awesome.
We also have a very big cultural scene in our clubs at school. Not only do we have a Latin student union, but we have an Asian student union and a Black student union, which have monthly meetings, and they have participated in spreading awareness and have talked about Black History Month, Chinese New Year, and they've gotten to share their experiences and their culture with us. JJ is also a part of the LSU, so if you wanted to talk about what you guys have done this year.
Yeah, so we meet once a month, which is super cool. We do things like Dia de los Muertos and Day of the Dead, Ofrenda. And we do Dia de los Reyes, which is the 3 Kings Day celebration. So there's a lot of cultural stuff that goes into it that we like to celebrate and kind of give awareness to for the other students at West. Upcoming sports, we have a lot of upcoming sports. We have baseball, boys golf, boys and girls lacrosse, girls soccer, softball, boys tennis, boys track, as well as girls track.
And for our upcoming clubs and activities, our drama program had a cabaret during January where we announced our 2026 to 2027 season. Those include Check Please, Leading Ladies, Frozen the Musical as our winter musical, which we will be the 2nd school in Wisconsin to perform, so you should check that out, and Peter Pan Goes Wrong. We also have student-directed one-acts coming up on May 26th, so if you want to see some student-directed one-acts, that would be great to see. Our choir has a final choir concert on June 1st, and our band and choir both have their WSMA state performances on May 2nd at Carroll College. And they've also collaborated for a open public vendor fair on May 16th. It's basically just a farmer's market that's hosted at West where you can shop around, you can hear us playing music and singing. It's really fun.
We just wanted to give some congratulations to a lot of our still awesome students at West. We have 65 students that are being inducted into the National Honor Society. On February 4th, we had 20 student athletes who were assigned to their committed colleges, preparing them to be college athletes. And one that I'm most proud of is our our leadership conference, which with our theme being Built Not Born. I've been fortunate enough to been part of the planning committee for 3 years now, and for our leadership conference, we talk a lot about how we can build our leadership skills both on and off the court. And I've found that a lot of my teammates have benefited from that, which has been really cool.
So to end off the school year, we have 2 major school-wide events. The first one being prom on May 9th at 6 p.m., which I'm super excited for because I get to hear JJ's DJing. And also we have graduation. We have the ceremony on June 13th at 9 a.m. So I will be happy to host, we'll be happy to host you guys if you plan on coming. Thank you so much for your time. If you'd like more information on Waukesha West High School and upcoming events, you can visit the QR code on the left. And if you'd like to learn more about our sports and activities, you can visit the QR code on the right. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Very nice. This is a first. I don't think we've been presented with QR codes before in a student presentation, so it might become a trend, but great for those rewatching the video as well. Questions? Mrs. Voigt?
I don't really have questions, but I just want to have 2 compliments to share. I recently had the chance to attend the musical, and it was just amazing. It was very, very well done. But you had the last minute, will it be on or not, because of the power outage.
Oh, yeah.
The Friday night performance, but it was amazing. And I had a chance to attend part of the leadership conference too, which has been an annual event that I'm just very, very impressed with how it's grown over the years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Voigt.
Anything else? Mr. Brooks?
I have a question for each of you. I'll start with Emma. What's your favorite production that you've been a part of during your career in musical theater? Or theater in general, I guess.
I can split that up between the productions I've been in at school and the productions I've been in the community. I would say my favorite production I've done at my school was Something Rotten the Musical or The Play That Goes Wrong. Those were super fun because I played a crazy lady both times. So I just kind of got to do whatever I wanted on stage. And, no one could judge me because I'm supposed to be crazy. And then in community theater, I played my first lead as Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, which was super duper fun. I would like to say that I'm a lot like her, so being able to play her and really analyze that character was just super awesome. And I'm a lot like a lot of the kids in theater, so it's just like being around that community all the time is just my favorite.
Awesome. JJ, what's your go-to playlist for DJing?
Well, it depends. Do I have a room full of high schoolers or 60-year-olds?
Let's go with high school.
High schoolers, I play a lot of hip hop and rap, always keeping it clean. But a lot of Bruno Mars is a big hit for kids our age. So
What about 60-year-olds?
6-year-olds, ooh.
60 or 60.
Oh, 60-year-olds. They really like. Well, it depends. It really depends. I think the Beatles, people like Bon Jovi, like it depends how old we're getting, but
Correct.
Dave, can you confirm?
So now we'll have to include the Spotify playlist QR code for the future presentations.
Great job, guys.
You guys, it was an excellent presentation.
Thank you
Really
so
nice
much.
job. Thank you. We have just one more recognition before we get to our citizen speakers for tonight. I wouldn't want the evening to go by without acknowledging the last 3 years of service by Mr. David Wad, our board member. He will be ending his term with us at about the middle of April. And since Mr. Watt has been with us, he has served excellently on the Finance, HR, Student Services, and Policy Committees, and he's just been an exceptional chair for us for our Policy Committee. And I just want to acknowledge his very data-driven approach, his rigorous research. He always comes very well prepared for meetings and does a really nice job of finding facts for the rest of us to help put things in context. And so we are going to miss that, but I do want to thank you and recognize your service to the board. All right, thank you. Moving next to our citizen speakers. We are now at that time. We have 9 speakers tonight. Because there are more than 6, each individual will be limited to 3 minutes. We will signal the speaker at 2.5 minutes to begin to wrap up comments. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit, refrain from using any inappropriate language, and to be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future board or committee meetings. Speakers are here to address the board and not the audience. The school board does not endorse any comments made by members of the community here tonight. We would like to remind our community members of the impact of their words on others and that our children are watching. We commit to communicating with you in respectful and productive ways and ask that you do the same. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the board and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or other behavior that will detract from the meeting. Please note that no obstructions can be created between the board and the audience. Visual aids cannot be used, and the area behind the speaker and the podium should be clear during public comment. Also, in order to respect our speakers and meeting participants, please silence your cell phones. I think we have a number of first-time speakers here tonight, so just from a procedural perspective, I will announce the name of the speaker and then followed by the next speaker, just so that you know when your turn is coming. And we will begin tonight with Laura Wagner, followed by Christy Witt.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Laura Wagner. I am a band parent at South High School and co-president of the Waukesha South Band Boosters. I'm here tonight to express the profound disappointment that I and all of our booster parents feel about Mrs. Van Dyke being placed in preliminary non-renewal of her contract. In case you are not aware, Mrs. Van Dyke is the fourth band director South students have had in the past 6 years. She comes to us with over 20 years of experience, including expertise in marching band and color guard. The difference in the quality of our students' musicianship can already be heard in the few short months she's been with us. She's thrown herself into this role and built genuine, meaningful connections with her students. We know of students who are choosing to come to South or will return to band next year, specifically because of Mrs. Van Dyke's leadership and enthusiasm. Mrs. Van Dyke is also committed to having the Marching Black Shirts compete again this fall. Our marching band program has not competed since 2019. They perform in exhibition. This was never intended to be permanent, but COVID, the parade tragedy, and the repeated turnover of directors meant that South was still performing an exhibition last fall. After the season, Mrs. Van Dyke polled the students, and the vote to compete again was unanimous. Although now, all planning for marching band is on pause, as we may have a different director with a different vision. A high school band director position is a huge job involving countless hours outside of the school day, including weeks of the summer for band camp, marching season, concerts, parades, solo ensemble, etc. Not everyone wants to sign up for this level of commitment. The South band director job was posted last August, and any district teacher could have applied. No one wanted it then, and there's no reason to believe that will be different now. For us to have found an experienced teacher in Mrs. Van Dyke who is excited to be at South and well-loved by her students is tremendous good fortune. Our biggest fear is that Mrs. Van Dyke will be forced out, and the teacher forced in to the South job will ultimately find another job that better fits their life. And once again this fall, South students will have no band director. Please put the interests, the best
30
interests
seconds.
of South students first and allow us to keep Mrs. Van Dyke. Thank you.
The next speaker is Christy Witt, followed by Stephanie Damian.
Good evening. My name is Christy Witt, and I am a parent of a band student at Waukesha South. I'm also here tonight because of the preliminary non-renewal of our band director, Miss Van Dyke, and I want to speak to what that decision truly means for our students and families it affects. A band director is unlike virtually any other teacher a student will have. In most classes, a teacher has a student for a single year. But a band director, if all goes well, walks alongside the student for all 4 years of high school through growth, struggles, success, and everything in between. That kind of continuity is rare and matters enormously. The benefits of music education are well documented. Students participate in music programs, have better attendance, higher graduation rates, and stronger scores in math, science, and reading. But the impact goes beyond academics. The band room becomes a unique space, one where students can take risks, try new instruments, tackle difficult music, and learn that struggle is part of growth and not a reason for shame. It is a place where students learn leadership, collaboration, and how to perform under pressure. These are life skills that extend far beyond high school and far beyond music. This is especially true for students who face additional challenges, students with IEPs and 504 plans, navigating dyslexia, autism, ADHD, and other learning differences. Find in the band room a place where their challenges can be transformed into something beautiful, where they can excel, where they feel proud. The kind of environment does not happen automatically. It is built carefully and intentionally by the right teacher. Miss Van Dyke is that teacher for our students. She came to South during a very challenging time for our program, with no director in place in the middle of marching band season, students uncertain about the future of the program that many of them call home. She stepped in and immediately connected with them. She challenged them in ways I've never seen another director do. She is now involving students directly in writing drill, arranging music and choreographing performances so that they truly own what they are creating. She is building leaders, she is restoring pride, and the results are already visible. Band enrollment at South is projected to increase by 20 students next year. That kind of growth reflects the trust students and families have placed in her leadership. These students deserve consistency. They deserve to keep the director who has already earned their trust and is actively
30
building
seconds.
something meaningful with them. Another disruption, another transition sets back not just the program, but the students themselves. At a critical time in their development, please consider what is truly at stake here. The skills Ms. Van Dyke is teaching our students will serve them long after high school, long after their last performance. She is making them better musicians, better students, and better humans. That is worth protecting. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Stephanie Damian, followed by Aramis Casares.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Damian, and I'm here in support of Melissa Van Dyke continuing as our Waukesha South Band Director next year. I'm the Band Booster Treasurer. I've also been very involved with the Band Boosters since 2021. I have 2 daughters in the band program. One graduated, and one is currently a junior. I just wanted to share what this year has been like from my younger daughter's point of view. When their last director left in August, there was a lot of uncertainty. With so many director changes over the past few years, the kids really didn't know what to expect anymore. Then Miss Van Dyke stepped in and things started to improve quickly. One of the first things she did was ask the students for their ideas and then actually use them. The students shared what they wanted the band to become, and she created leadership roles based on that. My daughter is taking on 2 of these roles as percussion co-leader and secretary. It will give her more responsibility, but more importantly, it makes her feel like she has a real part in the band, not just as a participant, but as someone helping shape it. Melissa also talked to us a lot about where the program could go, growing the band, challenging the students more, and moving toward competition. As a junior, that really mattered to my daughter. She became genuinely excited about what her senior year could look like, being part of a competitive marching band and working towards something as a team. So when she found out her director wouldn't be returning next year, it was really disappointing. Not just because of another change, but because it felt like everything they had started building might not continue. I know there are a lot of factors in decisions like this, but from a parent and student perspective, consistency really matters. These students have started to build something meaningful, and they deserve the chance to see it through. I strongly encourage you to please reconsider this decision so they don't lose that momentum. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll allow you to say your name, and this following speaker will be Katrina, I think it's Tarkarj. Sorry.
Good evening, members of the board and district administration. My name is Aramis Casares, and I'm currently a junior at Waukesha South High School, and I've been a part of the band program for several years, and I plan on continuing for my senior year. I'm here not just for speaking for myself, but for the vast majority of students in our band program who feel the same way about this decision not to renew Miss Van Dyke's contract, and what this actually means and how this will affect the students. In band, we spend a lot of time with the community in the school, and this requires a lot of planning and time from the students and especially the director. And none of this works without a strong director. Over the past several years, our program has not been stable. We've had multiple directors over the last 6 years, and there's a period over this summer and beginning of the school year when we didn't even have a director. And that set us back from performing our best. Miss Van Dyke came in when we needed someone to step up and lead us. And she did that, and now she's improving us. For example, she offers to stay after school for one-on-one help and also with groups. She pushes us to improve, but in a way that makes us want us to work harder. She's helping rebuild the culture of the program, and so the people want to come back. She also has a major impact on our color guard, and she has real experience with color guard and choreograph, which She works with them directly to teach them new skills, building routines, and helping them improve. Because of her, we are getting better. Next year, we're going back to competitive marching band, which hasn't happened in years, and she's already leading that. As I'm a senior next year, I'm also stepping into leadership roles, including working on drill and helping plan for next part of the season. Me and other student leaders have already put in many hours for planning for next year. We created a full spy-themed show, selected music, and set dates. All of the work we have put in is now at jeopardy because we don't know who will for sure lead us. If Miss Van Dyke stays, this will allow us to continue to work and keep planning our amazing show for next year. But more importantly, she will get to keep, and all the students will get to keep, the same relationship we share with our director, rather than starting a new relationship with a new director.
30 seconds.
You can already see our impact in our numbers. We're growing from about 40 students to 60 for our marching band, and that's a huge increase, especially since our numbers have been dropping recently. Taking away Miss Van Dyke puts us back where we were at the start of the year and restarts us. I'm asking you to reconsider this decision and really think about how it affects the students, because right now we're moving forward, and please don't take that away from us students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is, I'm sure I got your last name right, Katrina, followed by Lori Leschman.
Hello, my name is Katrina Tart-Kargi, and I'm the proud parent of a South Band kid. Now, I know you've heard many compelling reasons why a music teacher position should not be cut and why Melissa Van Dyke is the only obvious choice to continue leading the South Band program. But I'm not here just to talk about that. I'm here also to talk about ducks. These tiny little pieces of plastic may seem silly and insignificant, but for our kids, it has come to represent a desire to do and be better, both in band and outside of it. All of that is due to Mrs. Van Dyke's leadership and commitment to our kids. She came in with her army of ducks after the marching season had already started. She took on a program that no one else in the district wanted, and from day one, she connected with those kids. She not only won over a group of teenagers that were hesitant to have new leadership, she connected with them in a way that makes them want to work harder, makes them want to push themselves to be even better. That is not something that just any band teacher could have stepped into and accomplished in such a short period of time, with or without ducks. There has been so little consistency in the band director role at South that the program has suffered. This is most obvious with the marching program. So many kids don't want to be part of it anymore because it's a big commitment with lots of hard work and very little payoff at South. Until now, we have not been a competitive band and have not been for several years, so our kids put in hours upon hours of work over the summer and after school to just perform at football games and some exhibition shows. Now, that's great, but these kids want to compete. They want to work even harder. They have already started planning for next year's show. Some of them gave up time during Christmas break, some stay after school to work on the show, and under Mrs. Van Dyke's leadership, they have taken ownership. They are invested and excited to be a part of South's marching band. It's not just a class or activity that gives them a break from academics, it is so much more. With the right teacher, band is a place where kids can be themselves and take risks, knowing that they are supported and not just a number. Mrs. Van Dyke gives our kids that safe place while pushing them and challenging them. Now, Mrs. Van Dyke, with the help of her army of ducks, has fostered a sense of pride that the South Band program has not had in a very long time. She has accomplished this in a matter of months. Now, I know that is where the problem lies. On paper, looking at a list of names and time in the district, she is the obvious choice for who not to get a contract renewal. She doesn't have the seniority in the district, but if you widen the lens and look at her career and accomplishments prior to coming to South, if you come into the classroom and you see how she motivates and engages our kids, if you take into account the factors that are
30
actually
seconds.
important, she becomes the glaringly obvious choice. Our band has been through so much turmoil and inconsistency in such a short period of time that it is incomprehensible that a contract would not be renewed for a teacher who has made such an impact. A teacher who is wanting to and willing to stay for the long haul, and a teacher who is already looking to the future. A teacher who has significantly increased our kids from last year. Kids are coming back to band because of Mrs. Van Dyke. Without renewing her contract, you are sending the message to our kids that what is best for them doesn't
Your
matter.
time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. The next speaker is Lori Leschman, followed by Matt Engeling.
Good evening. I'm Lori Leschman, a Waukesha School District parent of 17 years with 3 children who have been through the music program at Waukesha South. My oldest daughter is a 2023 graduate. She started in orchestra at Horning. She had 4 years of orchestra at South, and in those 4 years, she had 1 orchestra director. My second daughter graduated last year in 2025, and she is our passionate musician. In fact, right now she is in college studying to be a music educator. But she had a very different experience in the music program at South. She had 3 different orchestra directors every year for 3 years. As the program continued to shrink and the culture around it changed, she lost her connection to it and she quit during her junior year. After she left, there was even another orchestra director change after that. She was also so embroiled in music that she decided to take on band her freshman year. And even though all of the turmoil that exists in the band program that's been talked about the people before me, she stayed with it for 4 years. And a big part of that was having a connected, compassionate, and dedicated band director for her sophomore through her senior years. That stability made a real difference for her. My son is currently a sophomore, also in the band program at South, and he is now looking at the possibility of a 3rd band director in 3 years. Many of the folks who have talked before me tonight have talked about the significance of the band director role, and I can't repeat a lot of the same things that they did, but I'll try to spin it my own way. It's not just a music teacher role. A band director is somebody who is willing to put in the time and the effort for the year-round schedule that it demands. There's the marching show planning, which is taking place right now. There is the summer band camps. There's after-school rehearsals in the fall. There's football games. There's competitions on the weekends, and sometimes there's even some travel involved. And at South, there's the added responsibility for the band director of coordinating the March Fest band competition, which is one of the largest band competitions in the state of Wisconsin. Mrs. Van Dyke came to our program about 2 or 3 weeks into the school
30
year.
seconds.
And she just hit the ground running. I ask the board here tonight to please use your oversight role and to work with administration to find answers to some of the important questions here. How was the decision made to not renew Mrs. Van Dyke's contract? How does it align with investing in our students' curriculum and staff? And what is the plan for continuity and quality going forward for the South Band program and for all of the district music
Your
programs?
time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Matt Engling, followed by Denise Meyer.
Good evening. I'm Matt Engling, parent to a senior and freshman at North and a 6th grader at Butler. I wanted to start, obviously I'm here in support, showing North solidarity for South, but I wanted to start by congratulating first Mitch Gallagher on his newly elected seat to the board, and also congratulations to Betty and Diane for retaining their seats. I do want to say, as a longtime lurker of the board meetings on YouTube, I would be remiss if I didn't take the time to express my hope that in moving forward, certain members of this board will choose to treat Diane with a little bit more respect, and not choose to treat her with the same condescending attitude that I've witnessed on YouTube. It's shameful, it's sad, we're told to be respectful. We expect the same out of you to one another. So it starts with you. Please do better. Now, when it comes to South, I feel privileged to be standing up here and lucky, because I come from a band program that has had a director in its position for 10 years. We're the only school in the district to have a constant band director for that duration. West and South have not been that lucky. Waukesha is a district that has a proud band tradition. It's a district that the programs have provided state, regional, national exposure. That's no longer the case. It's a shell of what it used to be, and that's sad. And it's because there's no consistency. So to see a position like Mrs. Van Dyke being, in a sense, threatened for renewal is an utter shame. From the outside looking in as a North parent, not fully engaged with the South program, to me, it seems like the decision is being made not on merit, but simply on seniority. It's not being made on merit. As we have heard, the band enrollment is up for next year. Student approval is at 100%. Family support is at an all-time high, and the community is rallying behind her. The South Band program has experienced constant turnover for the past 5 years. They've experienced more heartache than any community should. The decision never once, from my opinion, seems to put the students or the program at the center
30
of the decision.
seconds.
From my opinion, seniority has been the deciding factor. Not merit, not dedication, not qualification, simply seniority. And it's sending the wrong message. It's sending the wrong message to our students and our community. The band programs in Waukesha used to attract students to our district. We talk about enrollment over and over, lacking enrollment. It could attract more students into our district, which is a whole other issue.
Your time is
but
up.
Please reconsider.
Thank you. The next speaker is Denise Meyer, followed by Paul Reese.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Denise Meyer. I have 2 daughters, Mackenzie, who is a freshman at Waukesha South High School, and McKenna, a 6th grader at Horning Middle School. Mackenzie plays the oboe and concert band and the clarinet for marching band, and McKenna plays the trumpet. In the 7 months Melissa Van Dyke has been our director at Waukesha South, she has shown the parents, band booster, and most importantly, the students respect, provides encouragement, and introduces new opportunities. For example, last spring, we had to choose classes for the fall. As we knew she couldn't play the oboe and marching band due to safety concerns, we were advised that she could either play the cymbals or choose another instrument. Since Mackenzie has worked so hard to learn the oboe and is so passionate about band, this was almost an insult to play the cymbals. We also asked if she could take SWAP, symphonic, wind, and percussion. We were told SWAP was an advanced class and that it was not open to freshmen unless they auditioned. Unfortunately, we were declined that opportunity to audition and was told maybe next year. As for marching band, Mackenzie wanted to play the clarinet or play an instrument and was forced to learn the clarinet on her own. Last May, she spent hours on video calls with her peers. This forced her to learn on her own and just so she could be ready for marching season. My daughter had 0 administration resources and support. In December, Melissa recognized that Mackenzie needed a challenge and reached out to my husband and I and said, "Why isn't Mackenzie in SWAP? I could really use her." I said, "Well, let's work collectively and figure out her schedule." Just recently, Mackenzie has said that she wants to be a music major after high school. I am certain Melissa has played a huge part in that decision. I know Melissa has only been with the band as a band director for 7 months, but it already feels like she's family. I cannot imagine her not being our band director and would definitely be a noticeable void. Melissa has already arranged for us to compete, set field trips, and has introduced the kids to more challenging music. Our goal and responsibility as parents, teachers, and educators are to
30
ensure that our
seconds.
kids continue to grow. Without Melissa, I feel this wouldn't be possible. Thank you for taking the time to listen and to consider the decision and the impact.
Thank you. Our last speaker this evening is Paul Reese.
Good evening. First, thanks, Dave, for your time on the board. You've been one of the most prepared, if not the most prepared board member I've seen in the last 15 years. So it's been great, and I look forward to you being even more productive on this side of the podium. That being said, there's been talk tonight about, I want to touch on about South Band. What makes it possible? Why is someone discussing firing this band director, getting rid of this band director? What governs this? It's the union contract governs this. First, last in, first out. That's it. There's nothing the board can do about this. That's the contract. You got a problem with it, take it up with the union steward over at Horning. I'm sure she'll tell you to pound sand. You know, it's sad, it's terrible what's happening, but the word preliminary comes up, and it's used in that to give the teacher the advantage if she needs to find something. So if by chance something happens, she's covered. This has happened numerous times over the 15 years I've been here, and I don't think once they've ever been let go. So it's just something that it protects the teacher, and that's what it's there for. And that's why they would tell you to pound sand. But, so choice, but remember, choice doesn't apply with union contracts. Someone said the choice to choose this doesn't apply. That being said, Diane Voigt brought up at the end of the policy meeting earlier this week that harassment, that she feels harassed sitting here. This is the same person who went after Dr. Siebert. She publicly tried to get people to come here and criticize him on the night of his review. I've been here, coming here for 15 years. I've never seen an action like this. And I'm sorry if I'm being mean to someone for pointing this out. But I've never seen that kind of action taken in 15 years by a sitting board member. And she wants to limit my speech. But my speech is covered. And a very prominent judge in this district gave a ruling back in 2020 called Lynn Edelman was his name. And he talked about it. And if people want to look it up, there's an article in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel on September 29th, 2020, where he covers what can be said here and what can't be
30
said.
seconds.
What I can do and what I can't do. And what you can tell me to say and what you can't. You can limit my time. You could limit my speech to something that's on the agenda. So in other words, parents who come in here to complain about their teacher being let go wouldn't be covered. They couldn't speak about it because you could limit that. But otherwise, what we say, you can't limit. And your idea of what respect is doesn't matter. So anyways, thanks.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are going to move into our general business. We'll begin tonight with minute approval. We have 3 sets of minutes for your consideration. March 11th regular board meeting, the March 11th executive session, and the March 18th expulsion panel.
I move approval of the 3 sets of minutes as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Harland. Any need for discussion? Okay, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Betty Koenig,
Aye.
Natalie Gren,
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
David Wad,
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia,
Aye.
Thomas Harlan,
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski,
Aye.
Diane Voigt,
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 9-0. We will turn it over next to Mrs. Koenig for the WEF report.
Thank you, Madam President. The Waukesha Education Foundation Board of Directors is not meeting until Thursday, April 10th, but I have a few updates to share tonight. Thank you to everyone who participated in our Evening for Education event on March 25th. It was a great night with over $64,000 in revenues and 270-plus guests. Our website has been updated with award winner information, and photo links were sent out to all who attended. More importantly, since the event, Lynette has had 3 appointments with new businesses who attended the event as a guest and want to get involved, and 1 scholarship donor who wants to start a new scholarship. If you attended and have any feedback from the event, please contact Lynette. The WEF scholarship applications are currently in the evaluation stage. Winners will be announced at each of the high school's scholarship events in May. Our 2026 grant cycle application opened today, April 9th, and will remain open until September 14th. We are pleased to share that we will be offering a record-breaking $60,000 in grants this year. This year, we are also offering a temporary grant category as the district implements Optimizing Our Future. Educators may request funding for mentorship programs, leadership training, and other initiatives that strengthen connection, community, and culture within their schools. Grants must still meet our guidelines for innovative, impactful, and sustainable programming. More details and the staff video are available on our website. Just a reminder that our Partners for Education event, typically held in June, has been paused for this year due to declining participation as we take time to reimagine the event. And finally, our 20th annual golf outing will be held on August 6th. We opened registration to returning golfers and event sponsors on March 17th and to then the general public on March 25th. And as of April 1st, I'm sorry to tell anyone interested, the golf outing is sold out with 192 golfers. We may have a bit of wiggle room though, so we have started a wait list on the event site. We still have event sponsorships available and appreciate any referrals. Available sponsorships are also listed on the event site, which is a wefgolf26.givesmart.com website. Questions can be directed to Lynette at extension 1143 or by email. Madam President, that concludes my WEF report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Koenig. All right, I'm going to turn it over now to Dr. Siebert and the administrative team for an update on our optimizing our future long-range planning.
All right, thank you, Dr. Piasek. We'll walk through a presentation with you as we do each month, and we'll start by just going through kind of our month-by-month high-level activities that we've been engaging in. So if you remember back to January, that was basically the month that we were just waiting to get all of the intra-district school choice in so that we could start planning for staffing and all of the other aspects that go along with making this a successful endeavor. Once we got to February, we were reviewing the STEM applications. Mr. Pat was reviewing the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, or Priority 1, Priority 2, Priority 3 decisions that he talked about last month. We had our retirements due, and the public district open enrollment period began as well. And then last month in March, we talked about how we were able to fill 100% of the Priority 1 and Priority 2 requests, which we were set out to do and were successful with. We continued to work on staffing decisions for all employee groups, and you'll see we continue to do that. We have ongoing conversations with our principals and administrators. We had summer school registration occurring back in March. And we'll talk more tonight about the mock transportation routing that we've been able to complete in working with First Planning and First Student. So as we get to April, we're really continued to be focused on what our 26-27 budget looks like. We talk about that in F&F, and we work on that in Cabinet every Tuesday. The open enrollment period on a statewide basis will close at the end of this month, so that's important information for us as well. Mrs. Thede and Marge in the HR department continue to work on staffing decisions for all employee groups. And tonight we're going to spend a lot of time talking about our moving plan and our successes in those in the past and how we intend to go about it this year. We've started to talk about that with my superintendent's advisory group of teachers as well, and put some notes in the Explorer, and we'll continue to do that. And then we'll also talk high-level, Mr. Pat will, about our planning for 26-27 transportation. So with that being said, we're going to kick it over to Mr. Clark, and we appreciate Mr. McCarthy being with us here this evening as well.
Yeah, thank you. And I brought Kyle in because Kyle's really he's our maintenance manager, but he's really in charge of the move and figuring out the logistics behind them. But I thought I'd start out by just going through and reminding or telling people about, if you're newer to the board or listening, of moves we've had in the past that have been very successful. We've done relocations of programs. We've moved elementary STEM to Whittier. We moved administration to this building from Lindholm. We've done moves all in-house. I don't think we've ever hired outside movers for any of these moves that I can recall. Complete renovations of Butler and Horning campuses where we completely gutted the school, emptied everything out, and then moved everything in. And then we've also done mergers of schools where Whittier and Hadfield, for example, have happened as well. And we've also done smaller projects, especially with the secure entrances, where it was parts of buildings had to be emptied so the construction could take place. So I think hopefully it puts people's mind at ease. We've done this before. I think we have a pretty solid process for this, and that's why asked Kyle to come here tonight, is just to kind of help frame that and what the process will look like. So we have a multi-phase. I'll walk through this slide, and then we can, and Kyle, if you have anything to add, feel free. But then I'm going to turn over to Kyle to walk you through more of the person-to-person type of things that we're going through to help staff get ready. So we've already started moving. We've been meeting with principals. The moving supplies are starting to be delivered to the schools, namely the boxes, the labels, and things like that. We're asking staff to start that process. In the past, at the middle schools, for example, in science, if they finish a part of their curriculum and they're not going to go back to the equipment, and they'll start to pack that, label it, cart it, and start that slower process rather than a rush at the end of the school year. The beginning of the summer, we'll start with office moves, small department moves. We also are factoring in the potential sale of Hawthorne Elementary School because that creates a timeline in the middle of summer. We'll then transition to classroom moves, the larger furniture moves, and custodial support services moves as well. And then late summer, we get into the furniture adjustments. We're going to have some furniture we want to end up with schools that are remaining open, kind of that rotation. Maintenance requests, we are meeting with each principal, especially in schools where either there's a grade reconfiguration or a significant increase in enrollment, and going through any improvements they think they might need. And then after all that, we still have to get the buildings looking as nice as they always do on the first day of school. So, and then in early fall, so we kind of set the expectation that our goal is to have, on average, 25 desks, enough technology in the classroom, and then we'll come back and we'll fine tune and swap in and out better furniture. We're working closely with the IT department to see if we can do upgrades on the fly, or if those are things that'll happen into the fall or not. So it's certainly an ongoing conversation. And I'll turn it over to Kyle to go through the next few slides.
So what we're going to do is we're going to work in teams. So we'll have multiple different teams, and not just teams from the service building or the custodial side, but the coaches, different, the principals and everything else. So we'll have everything set up, multiple teams, and those teams will handle full building moves, so like a Hawthorne to Lowell, and then we'll be doing teacher moves. So depending on what the final count is, we'll determine how many teams that we need. And then just to be able to track it, we have a couple different spreadsheets going. IT gave us our own template in the work order system. So a teacher, if they pack a box and it's ready to go, instead of having just sitting in that room, they could put a ticket in and we'll get it out. So that's going to be helpful. So just really on the custodial side, which has been great, multiple custodians that, their building's not being effective, they've all reached out and said they wanted to help. So on the custodial team in the schools, they'll help with the labeling, just making sure that the teachers have the supplies, and then just being able to either put a ticket in for the move or let us know that it's time to move some stuff. So, and then on the service building side, staff, excuse me, they'll handle like most of the moves. They've already been out looking to see if we have to change anything in the schools. They've been very proactive, talking with principals and just looking at things that we may need going into those new buildings. So basically, like we've done in the past, we'll provide boxes and labels to all schools and teachers that need it. You have your regular boxes, then you have a speed pack box where if you have an item where it's bulky or it's not going to fit, instruments, stuff like that, science stuff, it could go in a speed pack, we call it. So we have standard labels. We provide tape. We also have these wooden carts where you may see them around the district. They're great. You can put books on their library books, and then we just wrap it in plastic, put a label on it, and get it to its next spot. So it's been great to have those, and they worked well for us. So, and then what we talk about, what the district will move, and what's going to be the priority for us is, any files, supplies, technology, equipment, coordinated with IT, classroom furniture, office furniture, and district-owned equipment. What we will not move will be just personal items, just for safety's sake, and we don't want to be responsible for that. So like microwaves, mini fridges, coffee makers, personal decorations, personal classroom items and furniture, just because we don't want to be responsible for that, and something happens during a move and it's sentimental, we just, it's better that the staff member moves that. So like I said, we'll be tracking it, really. We could do it hour by hour, minute by minute, so multiple different ways. We have a couple different spreadsheets going. Some of those buildings where it's going to be a full building move, they'll have their own spreadsheet, and then when we have like some of those single teacher moves, that'll be on a different spreadsheet. But we'll be able to, go into that spreadsheet, mark off that, there's several questions on there. Is it labeled? What's the next destination for that box or that piece of equipment? So yeah, there's multiple ways that we're going to be tracking it, and then people could see that in real time and know that, okay, this is where we're at in the process, and that's nice to have. Food service and like the specialty items. So I already started working with Aramark, just seeing what it's going to look like on that end, and what they'll need, and just dietary needs and different things like that. Chemicals and equipment, just met with Erica Yoss. So we'll be working with EMC, who is a chemical management team, and so, avoid any mixtures of chemicals, different things like that. So we'll have that all worked out, and we'll make plans to move that stuff to the next sites and where it has to go. Same thing with musical instruments, just working with those team members, just to, if stuff has to get divided up, where's it going to go, and what's the best way to do that. Pupil services, it's been ongoing, just working with the cabinet members and then just principals, and it's been a pretty smooth process so far, and I feel like we're definitely being proactive instead of waiting for everything to come in. We're seeking it out and seeing how we could do it better. Challenges, it's always tight summer schedule. Usually the first thing we start doing is cleaning those buildings, so now we'll have to put that on hold, and we'll have to do that in steps, and really work with the incoming principal just to make sure that we have the time and that we're able to present the school in great shape on that first day. Just solutions just things that we've learned from the past referendum moves, and like Darren said, we've had multiple different full building moves, but just a phased move schedule. You can't do it all at once, and we don't want to touch stuff 3 times. So the key would be to, okay, this stuff is going to this room, and it's right to that room or right to that office. Just really daily communication, and it's on multiple different levels. It's with principals, it's with the staff at Blair. And then we're going to try to take it easy on CIP projects this summer, just with time, and just kind of get through that and then regroup. So, like the results that we're looking for at the end, efficient building usage, that's going to be huge. Cleaner building setup, so just really decluttering things and trying to standardize, furniture and different things that we have in the classroom. School leadership, peace of mind, so we're already helping with pick up, drop off, things that usually we haven't been involved in, but we've seen it, many different places and have some ideas. So trying to give that new principal, or if they're in a new spot, just some just some guidance and take some things off their plate. Balance staffing, so then it's gonna help us get to where, you know, we're able to be more efficient in the schools and really focus some of our resources in different spots. So that would be nice. You know, strong learning atmosphere. So we're always looking at ceilings, lights, you know, just interiors, different things like that. So it's, you know, trying to get those students that, you know, say they're going from Hawthorne to Lowell, you know, we have the standard lights that we've been doing, so we're going to try to have that done before they come in. Just some painting and stuff like that. So we're just looking at where we can get some of those upgrades in. And then staff access, we're trying to get, you know, as quickly as possible, and that's something that we'll work with the principals on, you know, to get into the classroom, to get familiar with it, you know, to set things up the way they want. And, you know, we'll be with them through the whole time. You know, you want desks moved this way, this, other ways, you know, we'll be a resource for them. And then hopefully September 1st, first day of school, you know, I'm confident that we'll be ready to go, so.
So I think we're off to a good start. The principal meetings so far have been the principals are definitely locked in, especially you know, we talked a few board meetings ago about the waves of information that we would slowly be receiving. And it started out with where are the kids going? And the next thing that'll come for us will be the section counts and the staffing assignments to get scale as to how many teachers are actually moving out of their building, et cetera. So I think we're in a good spot, but I've been very pleased with our principals and their quick knowledge that they're building with their staffs and their knowledge of their building that they're picking up pretty quickly. So we're here to help. I think technology is certainly going to help us. The work order system that will be part of this tracking and everything was implemented a year ago, and the nice thing about it is if a work order is put in, it's live, so the person who moves that box can update it in the work order, and it goes to the teacher who sent it. And there's just the flow of data is just so much better. So we're confident once we get the staffing, the section counts, which will be coming in the not too distant future of the next phase, will be meeting with the principals and saying, okay, these are your staff, what classrooms are going to be first grade, second grade, third grade, what teachers go in each room. And once we have that, you really can start mapping out the flow of the boxes and things like that. So I think we're in a good space. I think we met with Airmark last week, and it was really good to hear what they were wanting from us. So, you know, I'll be honest, I hadn't thought about the dietary needs with the kids moving and everything. So once that student data is firmed up, we'll get them in contact with the principals and work on how the flow of food service will run as well. So a lot of conversations going on, but I think we're in a pretty good place.
Do we want to stop for questions, or do you have more? Okay. Mrs. Kozlowski and then Mr. Webb.
Thank you. This was really helpful to walk through. So I know that the flow chart talks about the semantics and the primary goal is September 1st. And you use the word hopefully. And like, this has to be ready by September 1st, if not sooner, right? I mean, that is the goal. This isn't fingers crossed. This is, I love the workflow. I love how we're seeing it. I like the communication. I think it's all very good. But I do want to make sure that as we're going through this, that the challenges that do come up, because there will be things that are going to be a hurdle, unforeseen things, that we're raising the flag, making sure that the board is aware sooner than later on what happened and what does that do that. But interestingly enough, too, in walking through the workflow, I would love to see it. Because as a user, I would love to be able to see what you guys are looking at and managing, and through the color coding system and watching something, you know, call it chase the transaction. I use that in my world, but I think that would be really helpful for me just to see what we've built and how we're tracking and logging it.
I think you're right. It would be awesome, like, because we've never done it that way before. It was always, you know, you have to wait a week or see, but now we could do it in real time. So like, as soon as someone drops that box off or wherever it is, check the box, it's done, and you can actually see the flow. And with the IT, incident IQ ticket system, they have the analytics and they have the graphs where, we could separate our regular work orders from what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and so I'm actually super intrigued because I want to see it.
Okay.
I think what that does is it ups our game as to what we're really doing for making sure that nothing is getting dropped along all the different pieces. But I think this was a really good update for us on that point.
Yeah, and just on the September, maybe Kyle was being a little concerned. We're pretty confident.
You told me I couldn't say the date I was
Right.
thinking.
Yeah. My only orders were don't
I know
promise.
my team. I know my team.
The only order I give them is don't promise too much, so, thank you, Kyle. But we've got a very experienced crew, and Kyle's super experienced in these moves too. What we're really anxious to find out now is scale.
Yep.
And once we get that, we really can finish that schedule. But I have not only in the fact that we've done it before, but there's a lot of great people in our buildings and grounds crew who will be here every minute all summer if they have to get it done. So I'm thankful for them to make that possible.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Watt.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, no problem.
Kyle, just a couple of questions I have for you. So, obviously, there's a list of challenges up there, right?
Yeah.
Kind of wondering if you've mapped out, though, like, what are the greatest risks? What's your critical path? What are the things that have to happen by certain dates? Do you have that mapped out? Like, do you know where your, like, dependencies are, where, like, if this doesn't, and I'm not asking you to identify them here necessarily, but the reason I ask this is because we've seen a couple things early on, more in the communication space, where I don't think there was great contingency planning put in place, and we found ourselves without really, I think, a great path forward when we encountered an issue. And I just kind of curious if you've been thinking about that in terms of the tasks that are involved here, and where are the choke points, where are there things that need to be single-threaded through that could be the potential linchpins to a successful or potentially challenging move.
I think, to me, that Hawthorne to Lowell, that's going to be the most challenging, but that's the one that we've already been up on. That's the one that we're looking at because we already see that as a challenge because, Lowell's a different school and, furniture-wise, and they don't have as much furniture, because they had rooms that were for a different use. So trying to identify what Hawthorne, what those classes are going to look like, and then making sure that I have enough furniture at Hawthorne that I can get over to Lowell and that's going to fit in those rooms and fit their needs. So yeah, no, it's the ones that keep me up at night, we've already been moving on. And I don't see, it's tough for me to really, I don't know, guess, what the teachers are going to have in the classrooms. There's going to be a lot of moves and, I've heard different things. So it's going to be all hands on deck and really just cooperation and some of the stuff that, we don't want to move and, and it's for their own sake that something happens like that. So if we can get a lot of that stuff out of the way and we're moving, just their stuff that they're using for educational purposes, then, I don't see an issue.
If I could just follow up real quick, because I kind of suspected perhaps the biggest unknown anyway is that whole Hawthorne transition, or maybe we have a pretty good idea right now what that's going to look like. Do we have a closing date set? I mean, I don't know if you can even talk about that, but do we know when they plan to, for lack of a better term, grab the keys and take ownership of the property?
July 1st is what's in the document that was approved by the board, the sale. So we're baking that into as though it's going to happen, right? So like Kyle said, we've been really focusing on Hawthorne to Lowell. I would say the other one that we spent a fair amount of time on was the merger of STEM at the Horning campus because you got a grade reconfiguration going on there.
Right.
But as you look at it more, you also have all new furniture there for the upper grades that we're not moving much from Saratoga to, so there's like wins and losses as you work through all these buildings. And I I started this presentation today on our success in the past, and I'll bring up another chance when we really had to move quickly is when COVID hit. We had a construction schedule for the renovations of 2 middle schools, and we flipped that to, all of a sudden, we had full access, and within 2 months, we had a completely different construction schedule. The moving that we required our custodians and maintenance crews to do, so we can pivot quickly. But I think a lot of the pre-planning helps. Early on, we said we're not doing any large capital improvement projects or CIPs. I worked with Jen in identifying the summer school locations, and we looked at the likely moves, and when the board finally approved a plan, we adjusted summer school. A lot of it's access, right? Free and clear access. So I think Kyle's, we put together a plan where we want to be able to, we talk about tiers and waves, is start releasing buildings as soon as we can back to staff, because even with nothing going on, teachers love to be in their classrooms. I think they miss it by the middle of August, and we want to make that as possible. But it also takes a site off the table for us that we're not, so we can focus more resources. So there'll certainly be challenges as we go forward. I do think that with like a Whittier, which isn't scheduled for any specific purpose yet, to have areas where we can warehouse materials, especially if it's furniture, we think we might redistribute in the future. So I think we've done a lot of good work so far. I'm pretty pleased with where we are, and like I said, I'm very confident that on September 1, we'll be able to hold class. We've never not been able to hold class in any project we've had, so I don't know why this would be different.
Great, thanks. I guess the final thought I just want to share is, we've talked about this before in regards to other projects. I think we're extremely fortunate to have the capability we have to be able to do this in-house. And it comes up every year. We find ourselves in situations where you and your team provide such a great service to this district and obviously to the taxpayers who save lots and lots of money because we're not having to contract out this kind of work. So really pleased to have you and your staff engaged in this, and it sounds like you got a good plan.
Yep.
And looking forward to you being successful.
Thank you. Thank you for your service also. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think Mr. Zenobia also has a question.
Yeah, so my question is really, looking at the scale of this, have we looked about the possibility of needing additional staff or bringing people in during the project if some contingency came up and we didn't have enough bodies to get it done? Because I know, just looking back even to last summer, that the facilities and maintenance people have done a phenomenal job, multiple projects all over the district. I'm just curious if something comes up that, would we reach outside of the district, or do we have enough people, do you feel, to?
Yeah, Kyle and I have we've talked about that, and again, ultimately, we can answer that. We've talked about it in theory, and we're not afraid to do that. Once we know the number of moves that are occurring, we'll probably finalize that a little. We've also talked about maybe our summer crews a little bigger than it's been in the past, and things like that, but, we're pretty confident that we can pull it up, but we're not afraid to make that adjustment if we quickly realize that it's just, beyond what we can maybe pull off or
Without a doubt.
hit the mark as high as we want to hit.
Yep. And also, that's, when you look at, everybody always puts, a single school, but we're one big team, so just because one school might not be affected, I've already had custodians reaching out saying, hey, I'm here if you need me, let me know. Just our maintenance staff, like just that proactive approach, like, what are we looking at for special ed kids? Questions that, a couple of years ago, you would have never thought would have been asked, but they're just in that mindset, and they love it, and so they're already looking at, okay, who's going to be going there, and what do we have to do here? But it's just been, you put this district as a whole in one, there's really nothing that we can't do. You have your separate buildings, but, everybody's there and everybody's an equal and everybody's a teammate. It doesn't matter if you're the manager, supervisor, everybody's moving, everybody's on deck. And that includes staff too. I mean, I've worked side by side with many different, coaches, directors, and we're moving stuff. So we always pull together. But if we come to a point where, we're smart enough to say, okay, we're falling behind, then there's resources out there that we can use. But, you know, the goal is always to keep it in-house and, you know, just rely on the people that we've done it many different summers, and they spend all summer moving stuff around in their own buildings. So we got people that are pretty skilled. We got the tools. We have the vehicles. We'll have to rent one, but you know, there's no reason why we should have to look anywhere else. You know, and that's, you know, that'd be the easy way. You know, oh yeah, we'll pay someone to come and do it, but then now you're on their time schedule, and now it's a lot of sitting around. And the way that I see this happening, it's not going to be that way. You know, so we're going to have to just go from building. We have to jump here, jump there. Whereas if we hired a company, you know, they're going to want everything just okay. You know, we'll take it. You know, and then they'll be waiting for us to get more stuff ready. So it's always worked in the past for us, and I don't see why it would be any different on this one.
So as a board member with a pickup truck, I probably safely
Yep.
won't get a call this summer. All right.
You're part of the team, Andy.
Yep.
You've addressed my concerns.
You can come help my college students. Thank you.
Yeah, and like, for real though, like seasonal's been they really, you know, help us in the summer, painting the grounds, and then we never really hired as a laborer, so that's gonna be a funny one to see, you know, when all these kids could pick, okay, I wanna be a painter, I wanna work grounds, or I wanna be a laborer. We might have to just put something general out there, and you're gonna be a laborer, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think just one specific comment, and you kind of hit on this, Kyle. Your team is such you and your team are such an incredible asset to the district. So we're very grateful for you. I think what's not as well known is just your ability to repair, restore, and build things as needed. And so you know this district so well. You know the equipment and the furniture and the things that we have. So I really think it's to our advantage to have you all in the lead on all of this. I mean, outside of the just incredible organization that you bring to just the detailed plan of all of this, but I know we're in good hands, and I'm pretty confident that if you need something, you'll ask for it and we'll get it. So,
Yep.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Pat.
Thank you, Dr. Siebert. Moving on to our transportation update. So throughout this optimizing process, the question has been, what will transportation look like? Dr. Siebert and I have been talking about, we expect it to be very similar to what it has been. And we've gotten to the point now where we're able to work with First Student to be able to solidify what it will look like for next year. So just a little bit of background on how we do routing for the school district. Individuals at First Student start now, and it's really a trickle effect. So they start to input our students in who are transportation eligible into their system, VersaTrans, and by the end of the summer, with all the movements and changes, that's really when the routing is complete. So it's a long process. So for us to get an idea of what it would look like for next year, we can't rely on those people. They have a workflow that they do now, and it's a long process. So we went through their first planning, and we provided them the information when we got to the point of school choice being solidified and all the different aspects and where the data could be as accurate as possible to give us a really good picture of transportation for next year. So I'm going to go through that methodology and kind of how we worked with first planning and what the results showed. So their methodology, they modified boundaries within that VersaTrans system, so we provided them our new boundaries, and then they had to go in and change those in VersaTrans. They worked with our enrollment and transportation department to look at which students were eligible for transportation, so a lot of data validation back and forth on who is eligible, who isn't, and the tighter you have that, obviously the more accurate you're going to have for your routing. Route all students identified in the process as requiring transportation. And then optimizing route pairings based on runs added and deleted. So you obviously have schools closing and routes being deleted, and then adding those back and what that looks like within the overall framework of a transportation plan. Determine overall bus requirements, so what is needed for which students. And then consider current ELL and special needs students at closing schools. So this projection is based on accurate data. It's based on this year's bus routing for students who will be back next year that fall into those special categories. And so that along with, when we went through the process and met with them, our local individuals, Joni, who you've met many times before from First Student, and then one of her assistants who does the routing, verified they feel very confident in this projection and the accuracy that it has. Excuse me. So the results, and again, these are projected results, but we feel confident, again, we'll be within a couple routes one way or the other. So eligible students increased by 152 students, or about 4%. And that was to be expected with the closure of an entire middle school and the distance for those middle school students to have to travel. And again, the second bullet point under results, Butler and Les Paul increased eligible riders the most, of course, from Horning. And all of this with, obviously buses are large and can handle large capacities, and then with being able to reroute and have those optimizing route pairings, et cetera, the final plan is that we increase the current routes from this year to 2 more routes for next year. And so that's right where we thought and hoped that we would be. Again, these are projected. Could that go up by 2 more routes? That's a possibility. That could also go down by 4 more routes based on a bunch of different factors. But, and the final thing I have there is that bus routes are finalized for all of our families, not until late August, because the movement of all of our families, students coming in and out of our district, the bus company wants to be efficient as well, and they won't do anything until, again, August, but our families do know who is eligible for transportation as part of our process. So, so that's where we are at for transportation.
And just a side note on the budget side of this, I budgeted an increase of a couple of routes, and we had completely independent conversations. So this is right on our overall budget planning. To have an increase of 2 routes was reaffirm that we're in a good place budget-wise, on top of service-wise.
Okay, I have Mr. Harlan and then Mr. Watt.
Mr. Pack, could you kind of detail the increase by 2? Is that, I know that's obviously inclusive of the special needs buses. Did we see, I guess, a percentage increase of the special needs versus the general bus routes, or is it still kind of the same breakdown of split between the 2 types of routes?
So yeah, it's general information. It's information pulled from our current year for students who will be returning next year who fall into those categories, and that is what this is based off of. So they use those projections are accurate. So like in any year, you could have a student who needs meets eligibility for busing who has special needs, and that is an additional route added, but that happens every year from now until next year. So it is based on the projections for next year of current students who are in our district already.
Yeah, just curious if, as a part of this exercise, there's any sort of analysis done about max ride times, given the length of the route, stuff like that. I know there were some folks that were concerned that we may see significantly increased ride times for some students, and on the other hand, I think there was some hope that with the redistricting being more compact or structured in one area, we might see more efficient routes. So I'm just wondering if we have any feedback or thoughts on that at this point, or is that data available?
They did provide that data. What they provided was that currently most students enjoy a very reasonable ride under 25 minutes. That's what we currently have. 26, 27 model looks very similar, and it actually shows a reduction in some of the longest ride times with the efficiencies that were put into place.
Right.
So that's what they provided.
Okay, and then the only question I had on transportation, have we made any decisions about whether we're going to try to provide any sort of assistance around getting STEM students? I think there was talk of possibly a couple of pickup sites, or have we come to any conclusion on that yet?
So we asked First Student to investigate the logistics of that with 2 pickup points, and they're working on that for us right now. So we are investigating it and determining if we can make it feasible.
But we're not ready to make a commitment to that yet at this point.
Not until we get
Right.
some additional logistics information from them.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Not seeing any.
Okay, so we just wanted to finish with a couple slides. One being one we showed you last time, where when we compare this year to next year, we'll move from 70% of overall K-8 building capacity to 83.6%, which was certainly part of our ongoing process when we began this a year ago, right? Trying to more fully utilize the buildings that we have remaining within the district footprint. And then in terms of next steps, we show you the 3 things that we're going to work on leading into next month. Darren talked a lot about how we're continuing to work with the principals. Ms. Gunnerman does that as well. And we have some principals moving, we have other principals staying. And as Darren said, they have been excellent to work with, and they're fully on board with making this a successful project. The second part is Mrs. Thede and Marge and HR continue to work with all those staffing decisions. This is a district-wide process, and they're both doing an amazing job with that. So the staffing decisions continue to be made for all employee groups. And then as all of the things that we talked about tonight, we've started to talk about those, as I said, in the Explorer with my superintendent's advisory group, and we'll continue to upgrade our communication around plans for packing and moving. And it's a fine line of kind of what Kyle was mentioning, right? Like, as soon as you start packing stuff up, it signals that it's the end of the school year, right? And we have a quarter to go. So that's not the message that we're trying to send either. But we also don't want to get too far behind, right? That then would cause a pressure point or stress in the staff because they're trying to pack up everything at the last minute. So that's really where, as he said, when they're wrapping up units, let's box them up. You let your custodian know, we get the box out of there, right? So when boxes are sitting around, kids get the impression that the year's over, right, Mrs. Koenig or Mrs. Voigt? So that we won't have that, but we will do a systemic process as they described in terms of working through those pieces. So ultimately, we feel really good about where we're at. We hope to be in a position next month to be able to talk about school by school what we're looking at in terms of staffing and in terms of enhancements, because as we've talked about throughout this entire process, we believe that this was the right work. We believe we can be more successful in a smaller district footprint, and we also believe we can offer an enhancement in terms of the types of services that we provide. And so we are working on that diligently, and we'll hopefully be in a position to be able to show you what that looks like when we get to May. So thank you, and any questions that you have at the back end here, we'll try to answer as best we can.
Any additional comments or questions? This was very informative. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we really have to thank, if you notice how the slides look, they're fresh. Briley, who's been with us for a few months and taking pictures, along with Ms. Gunnerman and her mentorship of Briley, I got to give them a tremendous amount of credit. They're putting together some really nice presentations for you and for us.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, we're going to move next to the consent agenda, and we'll start with Mr. Clark presenting the gifts.
Yeah, 3 gifts tonight. South High School received a 2014 Subaru Legacy with an estimated value of $1,000 from Robert J. Linus Jr. The vehicle will be used for automotive instruction on newer vehicle systems. South High School also received $1,000 from the Carbide Grinding Company to be used for the Waukesha South baseball program. And then Hadfield received $1,200 from River Glen Christian Church to be used to provide extra educational experience for Hadfield students.
Excellent. Thank you. Your agenda includes various categories for approval. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, you will have that opportunity. Included in the items for approval are the decisions of the expulsion panel, which met on March 18th, 2026. A confidential communication regarding the details of the expulsion was in your board packet along with, the expulsions was in your board packet along with the minutes included under item 1G. If any board member wishes to discuss this item, we have scheduled an executive session at the close of the regular meeting. Approval of the consent agenda confirms full board agreement with the expulsion panel's action. There are no policies or bylaws in the consent agenda this evening. Would anyone wish to have an item set aside for separate consideration? Seeing none? Mr. Zenobia, would you present the consent agenda for approval, please?
Thank you, Dr. Piasek. Earlier this evening, the Human Resources and Compensation Committee approved 2 resignations, 1 retirement, 1 leave of absence, and 39 middle management and administrator contracts. That information was provided in your packet. I move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Kozlowski. Any further discussion? Okay, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Diane Boyd.
Aye.
Natalie Gren.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Thomas Harlan.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 9-0. Back to Dr. Siebert for the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Dr. Piasek. We'll begin tonight, as usual, with the overnight field trip report given by Ms. Kennerman.
I just have 3 to share tonight of recently approved overnight field trips. So North and South Boys Golf Team, that would be in Sheboygan in this month in April. South, a combined team for North and West and South, the robotics, if they do advance to the championship, that would be April 28th. And then South, this is the choir and orchestra Nashville trip, and that would be March 2027. So this is students from choir and orchestra from South, North, and West that are invited.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kennerman. Believe it or not, today was the final day of the 3rd quarter across the school district, which means tomorrow we begin the 4th and final quarter of the school year. Tomorrow is also the ACT Day across the state of Wisconsin and at all 3 of our comprehensive high schools. So we certainly wish all of our juniors the very best as they take the ACT tomorrow. That's very different, right, from when we took it on a Saturday in the nice summer weather and wanted to get moving, right, to get outside. But yeah, now it all happens on the same day. So they can take it out of their times if they choose, but they will all take it tomorrow as juniors. And just real quickly, we're just very excited with the planning that we're doing. We're excited to finish this school year strong. And before you know it, we'll be at graduation once again. So we'll finish the year strong. We'll continue to do great things for kids, and we'll continue to have a great school year. So thank you, Dr. Piasek. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Siebert. We will move next into our committee reports. The Student Services Committee and the Teaching and Learning Committee did not meet in April, but they will meet in May. So May 5th at 6 p.m. is the next Student Services Committee meeting, and May 5th at 7 p.m. is the next Teaching and Learning Committee meeting. Anything else to add, Mr. Harlan? Okay, thank you. We will move then to the Human Resources and Compensation Committee. Mr. Zenobia?
Thank you, Dr. Piasek. The Human Resources and Compensation Committee met earlier this evening, of course, and we did have one action item for our approval here at the board level. It was the approval of the recommended candidate for the position of the principal of Banting Elementary School. The administration is recommending Joandy Williams for the position of the principal of Banting. Joandy is a servant leader who is student-focused and has demonstrated a collaborative approach with students, staff, and families. She comes to this position with a wide range of educational experience. She's a continuous learner who is data-driven. She has a strong understanding of behavior. She's passionate about the dual language program, and she's excited to be the next principal of Banting Elementary. Resume and contract were provided in board docs. Salary and benefits will be according to administrator policies. I move to approve the recommendation and contract of Joandy Williams for the position of principal of Banting Elementary School.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Koenig. Additional comments? Okay, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Thomas Harlan.
Aye.
Natalie Gren.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 9-0.
Thank you. That concludes my report for this evening. We will meet again on May 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Zenobia. Move next to Policy and Government Relations, presented by Mr. Wad.
Thank you, Madam President. The Policy and Government Relations Committee met on Monday, April 6th, 2026. There were 4 policy discussion/information items on the agenda. First couple were technical corrections, Policy 5420, reporting student progress. The term ensure was removed as it could imply an unrealistic level of certainty. A second technical correction was made, this one to Policy 5511, dress and appearance, to update terminology by replacing the term grooming with the term appearance. Another policy that was presented with a potential technical correction, Policy 7540.05, assistive technology and services, was listed as a technical correction on the agenda. The policy was updated to clarify the reference to students with a 5014 plan. Language was also revised to state that in addition to the superintendent, the assistant superintendent of student services is responsible for administering and enforcing the policy. Committee determined that the updates go beyond a technical correction and therefore should be reviewed by the appropriate committee, so that policy will be placed on a future committee agenda to be determined in the future. Fourth item on the discussion portion of the agenda was a digital content and accessibility update. In February 2026, the board approved Policy 7540.02, digital content and accessibility. Since its adoption, the administration has continued to update district digital content to ensure compliance with the policy and the web content accountability guidelines. Deputy Superintendent Jennifer Gennerman presented updates and enhancements to the district website, including improvements to the homepage and the Board of Education page. Meaningful sequencing and visual enhancements such as color contrast have been incorporated. The site is now more user-friendly, featuring AI-powered search, and analytics are being used to better understand user needs. An example of this is in September, attention will turn to informing staff and families about the school district of Waukesha application. Any questions on any of those before I move into the potential action item? There was one policy action item on the agenda, Policy 3232, staff attendance at conference and outside events. This would be a new standalone policy that outlines expectations for staff attendance at conferences, workshops, other professional events to ensure that participation supports the educational mission, legal responsibilities, and ethical standards of the school district of Waukesha. It also provides clear guidance for staff. After reviewing, the committee recommended updating the policy title, gathering principal feedback with the policy to be revisited at a future meeting. Questions on that?
Just a clarification on that. I know the committee had a good discussion on that. For those who aren't on the committee, what would be the process for providing input, or where does it go next, going back to administration?
Yeah, so with me, that being my last policy meeting as chair and not knowing how that committee will be staffed in the future, I sent it back with Dr. Siebert, and I would recommend that anyone with feedback on any of that direct it to him until there is a new policy chair appointed.
I'll be happy to run point on that too until we get to that point, so, okay.
Okay, moving on to government relations. Dr. Siebert highlighted recent legislation affecting our schools. The governor signed into law the following education bills to date. Act 185, which requires DPI to maintain an online license database for revoked educator licenses. Act 186, which prohibits schools from sheltering employee misconduct. Act 189, which restricts drones over school property except in certain cases. and Act 160, which allows schools to use both video and audio recording on buses to enhance student safety. It was also noted that Governor Evers vetoed AB 457, which would have required districts to obtain DPI financial certification before pursuing a referendum. These developments are particularly relevant as about 72 school districts have referendum questions on the April 7th ballot, while 68 of Wisconsin's 72 counties are experiencing declining enrollment for the 25-26 school year, highlighting the ongoing challenges districts face in managing resources and funding. Dr. Siebert highlighted that the district is now both debt-free and the highest performing large school district in Wisconsin. He also pointed out that the governor additionally vetoed Assembly Bill 602, which would have allowed Wisconsin to participate in the Educational Choice for Children Act, along with 29 other states. Individuals could have received up to $1,700 in tax credit when they donate to public and private schools. These donations could have been used for a wide array of enhancements for public school students, but the governor vetoed that bill, which would have provided that. Any questions on any of that? What's that? Yes. So before I conclude my report, I just want to take this opportunity to, first of all, say it's been an honor. I'm very humbled by having had the opportunity to serve the citizens of the school district of Waukesha the last 3 years. Humbled that I was entrusted with that responsibility. I'm exceptionally proud of so many of the things that we tackled on this board while I was here, and was really proud to be a part of some of those things. The continued financial stabilization of the district, the continued improvements in academic results, the curriculum purchases, all that I'm extremely proud to have been a part of. And I've obviously been, I obviously formed many great relationships, both with board members and administration. I will cherish those. I thank you all for your support, and I look forward to staying in touch with all of you after tonight's meeting. With that, it concludes my report. The next Policy and Government Relations Committee meeting is scheduled for May 11th at 6:45, and it'll be in the boardroom here at Blair.
But you won't. Thank you for your service. All right, our final committee this evening is Finance and Facilities, presented by Mrs. Koslowski.
The Finance and Facilities Committee met on Monday, April 6th. There was one action item and two discussion items. The first action item was discussion and possible action on 2026-2027 health insurance plan. The administration presented a detailed report on the results of the School District of Waukesha's Pharmacy Benefits Manager request for proposal process, along with an overview of evolving trends in the prescription drug marketplace. Based on this analysis, the administration recommended updates to the district's health insurance plan for the 2026-2027 fiscal year, including the establishment of a uniform in-network out-of-pocket maximum. No action was taken at this time. Committee members requested additional information, and the item will be brought back for further review at the May Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. The first discussion item was the 2024-2025 annual audit report. The committee received a report from Brad Porter of Lauterbach and Amen on the results of the 2024-2025 annual audit. This included a review of the district's financial statements and management letter. The district received an unmodified opinion, the highest level of assurance in governmental accounting. For board members not serving on the Finance and Facilities Committee, copies of the financial statements and related correspondence have provided at your seats. In addition, the 2024-2025 financial statements will be posted to the district's website tomorrow morning and are currently available in board docs. The second discussion item was the monthly budget report. To ensure the highest level of accuracy and data integrity, the business office is transitioning to a one-month reporting lag for monthly budget updates. Previously, reports reflected the immediately preceding month. However, due to the timing of committee meetings early in the month, the financial close process was often still in progress. This adjustment will allow additional time for thorough review and analysis prior to presentation. The review and approval of vouchers will continue to reflect the current month activity in compliance with state requirements. The updating reporting schedule for the May meeting will be financials through March 31st finalized. The June meeting will have financials through April 30th finalized, and so forth. The administration did provide a high-level budget summary through March 31st with a more detailed report to follow at the next meeting. The next Finance and Facilities Committee meeting will be held on May 11th, 2026 at 5:30 PM in the boardroom. Dr. Piasek, this concludes my report.
Thank you. All right, moving to other business. Are there any recommendations for future board or committee action or discussion items? Seeing none, we do have a need to adjourn to executive session this evening. And we will need to consider items C and D.
I motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parent 1, parent E, for deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is in regards to a sale of a district property. Also, adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. This is in regards to preliminary notice of layoffs or non-renewal.
Second.
Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Thomas Harlan.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Natalie Gren.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 9-0, so we are adjourned to executive session, and we will return, but that concludes our regular business for this evening. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are reconvening from executive session, and we have first action to consider from the F&F committee.
Point of order.
I'm sorry.
Roll.
Yeah, let's do roll call.
Okay. All right, roll call back into open session. Anthony Zenobia.
Here.
Eric Brooks.
Here.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Here.
Thomas Harlan.
Here.
Natalie Gren.
Here.
Diane Voigt.
Here.
Betty Koenig.
Here.
David Wad here. Kelly Piasek.
Here.
Okay, all members are present.
Thank you, Mr. Wad. We're going to miss you. Back to Mrs. Kozlowski.
The Finance and Facilities Committee reviewed the proposed sale of the Oakdale property and voted 4-1 to recommend approval of the sale of the Oakdale property tax keys WAKC 1360198, WAKC 1360198, and WAKC 137703, and I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Brooks. Any further discussion? All right, Mr. Wad, would you take the roll call, please?
Yes. Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Natalie Gren.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
David Wad. Aye. Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Thomas Harlan.
No.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye.
Passes
Motion
8-1.
Passes 8-1. Thank you, Mrs. Kozlowski. All right, and we have one action to consider.
Point of order, who seconded? I didn't capture that.
It was seconded by Eric.
Mr. Brooks, okay,
Mr. Brooks.
thank you.
Okay, and we have one action to consider from the HR committee.
Yes.
Mr. Harlan.
I move to approve the preliminary notices of layoff and non-renewal as proposed.
Second.
Take Mr. Zenobia. Any further discussion? Okay, Mr. Wad.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
David Wad, aye. Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Natalie Gren.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Thomas Harlan.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye.
Passes 9-0.
Passes 9-0. All right, that concludes our business for this evening. Good night, everybody.